Hi, I'm Madison Dillard with Commercial Roofing Specialties. Today we're going to show you how to set up the tie-down zip rail system produced by Tie-Down Engineering. As you can see in the background, several men are already setting up the system as we speak. I'll go over the components of the system and what they'll be doing while they're setting the system up, and then we'll go over the OSHA regulations to make sure it meets the proper guidelines. So there are several different components to the zip rail system. First is the compression bracket. These grooves come in 2-inch increments. So you can do a minimum of 2 inches and a maximum of 24 inches on your parapet wall width. And to tighten down the bracket, you can use a ratchet and socket, or you can tighten it down by hand and go back and tighten it up later with a 1/2-inch impact wrench. Next, you have the gravel stop. So this is the piece that will connect on to the compression bracket and clamp down onto the parapet wall. If you're not using a parapet wall, it can also be fastened to the gravel stop using fasteners here and here, or on the exterior of the building using fasteners here and here, as well as the fasteners on the top. As far as your rails go, 355 feet, linear feet in one kit. You'll have 10-foot sections of rails. As you can see over here, you also have adjustable rails. A medium length adjustable rail is 5 to 8 foot, and the short adjustable rail is 32 inches to 48 inches for doing corners and short turns and things like that. As you can see, it's very important to have your workers who are setting up the zip rail system to be tied off to an anchor point or mobile fall protection cart as they are still on the leading edge. Once the system is set up, that's not as big of a deal. You can still do that in addition to, but one of the advantages of the system is having all of your workers inside of the rail system and not having to mess with ropes or SRLs or stuff like that. But as they are setting it up on the leading edge, they must be tied off to an anchor point. As you can see here, the guys are putting the 10-foot rails onto the stanchions. They've already tightened down the compression brackets onto the gravel stop. So as you can see there, it's going to meet at least 42 inches of overall height of the guardrail, which meets OSHA's 1926 specification. You can tighten the compression bracket by hand to get everything tight. And then you can see them tighten it up with a wrench. A lot of times people will want to put a pad or a piece of TPO in there to keep from scuffing or scratching the TPO wall. As you can see there, he's tightening it down with his hand. Then he uses a wrench to tighten it to the correct compression. As you can see, this is very fast and easy. They've probably already set up 20 plus feet here in a matter of 4 to 5 minutes. Cannot stress enough how important it is to make sure you read the manufacturer's warning label whenever setting up any zip rail system. It'll have installation instructions and a number to call if you have any questions. On the stanchion going into the gravel stop, it's also extremely important to make sure your pin is in the correct position and locked position to make sure the stanchion doesn't fall or slip out or cause some sort of other issue. All right, so after you've erected your zip rail system, there's a couple things you want to make sure are complete and in place. You want to make sure your compression bracket is tight, not loose, and connected to the gravel stock flush on these 2-inch grooves right here. Also, check the back side of the gravel stop to make sure that the pins are in there correctly and in the locked position. Make sure your rails have snapped in and are flush with the back side, and that these snap clips are in the up position so the rail cannot fall out. According to OSHA 1926, you also want to have this to withstand 200 pounds of force on your zip rail system on the top rail and 150 pounds on the middle rail. If everything meets those specifications, you have set your zip rail system up the correct way.